Somewhere along my path, I guess I was open, the page was clean, it was open, and Knaffe came on. And you know, if you're open without expectations of things, some miracles can happen. And I guess that's what happened with me and Knaffe. Hello, my name is Danny Phillips, in Hebrew Daniel is my biblical name, Daniel. In 2007 I came over to Israel to see what will happen in my life and how my changes would occur. And it's the last thing I could imagine that would happen, that I would open an authentic kanafeh, which is an Arabic dessert traditionally, and dedicate my passion into the whole process of making kanafeh, which is on the basis of everything, a very simple food. But like a lot of things in life, the simple things take a lot of practice and a lot of intricacies to get the detail just perfect. It's a bizarre combination of goat cheese and sweet sauce and these pastry hairs, which is like a shredded phyllo pastry. It didn't even make sense that this thing would work or taste right. And then I tried it in this place, Daliat Carmel, and it was like, wow, this rocks. How comes nobody else knows about this like in other countries? Traditionally it's in Arabic villages, up north in the middle of nowhere. And we'd hear about this little old lady, you know, in the front of the house, and she's made it into a little kanafeh store, and we go and find her and we'd eat kanafeh. Wow, that one was excellent. If you ask anybody on the street what's kanafeh, everyone has an opinion about it. It's like good hummus. People that are really hooked into kanafeh, they'll travel miles to go to eat kanafeh. The way it's made, there's a process which you put the oil in. I'm still developing different oils because I use the traditional baklava oil that they use from Turkey. So you've got your tray, you've got your oil in it, then you take the kadif, and again, top quality kadif is what you want to use. You get a bunch of this kadif. I separate because there's a very fine, passionate process that goes in. You put a lot of love into every portion. You can't do it any other way, because if you just plop it in, just take a lump out and plop it in, you're going to get these little knots inside, which just it's just not good. So yeah, shred it all up, put it in, press it down, then the cheese will come later on. We normally put the cheese just before we start cooking it, so it's as fresh as possible. So we have some cheese that goes into the top of it, cook it either in the oven or on the gas fire, which is the traditional Arabic way of doing it. It's about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. When it's ready, when it's golden brown, we keep checking it. When it's golden brown, we flip it onto a plate and put some sweet sauce over the top. Cover it with, the classic one is the pistachio, where we've done a version of pistachio and cashew over the top of it, and that's really lovely. And then served as quick as possible. It's one of the main things, get it from the cook straight to that person so they can eat it really hot and piping. Because kanafeh goes cold quite quickly, so it is a kind of technique how you can get it out to the person quick enough. And that's it, and then just watch their faces, hopefully they're delighted. When I first opened in Jaffa, a lot of people said, wow, that's a little bit ballsy, isn't it? It's a bit, you're a bit even nuts or brave, or what is it exactly? Because I've been in Jaffa, there's other kanafeh places in Jaffa, it's an Arab place. What's the idea? Are you trying to have a confrontation here? Actually, it's the opposite. Obviously, everybody has their own style. Like everyone does their pizza or hummus things, they all have their own style. So I have my own style. One of them is a little less sugar in mine. It's very true to say I have less sugar than the average kanafeh. And one of the reasons is because I want the person to feel and taste the hairs, the pastry hairs, the samneh, which is the vegetable oil that goes in, and the cheeses. I want them to feel all the different levels, and that's what you get with my kanafeh. And then I started adding things to it when we just started with our pilot. We added different sweet things in there. So we had halva, we had cinnamon, coconut. And halva melts inside the cheese, and it's like, if you like halva, wow, it's great. And then I thought, okay, I want everyone to be able to experience kanafeh. So vegans. It's a cheese products, but I want vegans to be able to have it. So I developed my own cheese from a cream of coconut. So we make that. We're here in the heart of Jaffa, by the way, so it's like East London back in the day. It's all the same. suddenly all the vegans embraced, because I didn't realise how many starving vegans there were out there, starving for kanafeh. They're like, I've been a vegan for 1 year, or I've been a vegan for 3 years. You know what I miss the most out of everything? Knaffe. So we joined a vegan association. In order to do it, you have to have half of your menu vegan. Part of the expansion went into making savoury knaffe, and the idea of that is this product is so amazing. Again, this cut-off hairs. I have tons and tons of other recipes I want to experiment with. So we managed to do 5 savoury knaffes, which is a larger portion. It's an actual meal. It's like a new food, discovering a new food altogether. Especially the savoury ones is completely, nobody's ever done that before. You know, what we're doing here is Israeli. It's about promoting this style, which comes from a lot of respect from the Arab source, and all my contacts are Arab sources. All the people I buy from, they're like the authentic Arab sources. They're so happy about getting involved with me. We're even talking about changing the factory into a kosher. I've had a rabbi over to see and they're all open for it, all up for it. And it's amazing, because when I was in England, I never imagined this happened in Israel. Arab and Jews don't even live together. So only when I came to live here, I realised actually there's so much more interwovenness going on here that people don't talk about. We're working on a gluten-free, very, very difficult. Been working on it for, you know, me and my, have to science, everything science. So the gluten-free one is tricky, making those hairs out of, yeah. But we'll get there. I think we'll have that. And then we'll have more or less nuts and bolts of everybody welcome. Everyone welcome. Right, and that's what's really amazing about this location, because we're off-road. We're not in the heart of Tel Aviv, so we're not in the busiest area. And we're having people come to us from far and wide, from very far. We're having my Arabic friends that have decided to come and join us here. So people from as far as Kfar Yasif, which is past Akko. Akko is up north, very close to Lebanon. and they're coming to check me out, check out the kanafeh. It's amazing what's going on. I know part of it's the passion. I know part of it's the team that are coming in, and sometimes when you're in that space, you just attract. So I have an amazing group of people that work for me, really coming from the heart, and they're really positive. They just want everyone to feel happy when they come in. Amazing, amazing. It's really developing, and so I've had some experience in the past. In England, I've had lots of different careers. One of them was working with a really good friend of mine, Nikolai Christensen. It was there that I found what food can do to another person, the effect it can have. You can have it with music, you can have it with sport, you can have it in many different ways. But here, there was a contact with people. There was people stopping and just in love with this process of what we were doing there. And when they were eating it, it was like an experience they were having, an overjoyous experience. I was like, wow, there's loads of ways to treat people. When I first came to Israel, I came with a lot of therapy background, and I went into a Palestinian village, half Arabic Israeli, half Palestinian, because for me I wanted to see what the situation was with Arab Jewish conflict. So it's important for me to do that. I think that's also why naturally I've gone into kanafeh, because it's an Arabic dish. I know the contact I had in this village by doing therapy. The contact you can have with people through food, therapy, music is a way to come to somebody in a very open and peaceful way. Because if someone's happy, they tend to drop a lot of their anxieties, hatreds and everything else you want to call it, without being too much of a hippie or a grand vision, which, you know, I'm an optimist. I believe that people, if you're in the right environment, you can overcome so many things, personal, and at the end of the day we're all the same. So if you can just meet on even ground, then we have a good chance of actually connecting into something a bit deeper. What I discovered through all of this was that it's a happy food. End of the story, kanafeh is happy.